Spirit is your source, God is your source, that comes out to remind you that you can ask God, you can pray to your spirits and ask them for clarity over the situation. Ask them for a sign, ask them for justice in this, ask them for whatever it is that you want. If you want this to be resurrected, ask them. If you want this to be gone and out of your energy, tell them. Just voice what it is that you want, because whatever it is that you need is going to be like infinitely supplied to you by the universe, by spirits, especially if you're divinely guided. And if you're listening to this reading, I would assume that that's kind of what's going on here. But it does remind me of yesterday's reading too, which talked a lot about how maybe there's not a lot of, like, you don't ask spirits for assistance. And that could cause a discrepancy between you and your guides, because if you don't trust them, it's like, you have to like put trust in the universe. You have to put trust in this energy. And I think that you feel like there's limitations to it, or you feel like you would need a miracle, or there's like, I don't know, like a limitation to what you could ask for, but there's not. There's not. And you need to, even though this person may not be in your energy right now, or maybe they're like not communicating with you yet, the moonlighting reminds you that it doesn't mean that something's not going to happen, and you are allowed to work on things and assume that better things are going to happen for you. And then you also have exercise to increase your energy and manifestation abilities. The key to manifesting quickly is to have a high energy level. That's so true. The easiest way to increase them is through physical exercise, which I don't go to the gym. I don't like the gym. I don't. But like walking, running, if you don't like to run, don't. Walk quickly, you know, just like, and there's so many things that you could do. Swim, play tennis, throw a ball at the wall. A couple of months ago, I was like really in this like inner child healing phase. I would take a piece of crumpled up paper, and like I would have no real like what, I don't know what I'm doing. I was just acting like a kid, and I was taking this ball of paper and I was trying to kick it like in between a tree and like a doorway, so it could act as a goal, you know. And I was trying to like kick a touchdown, and I was playing this little game with myself, and it was opening up like a portal between me and my inner child, so my inner child can look at me and feel comfortable and safe. I feel like that, I don't know why I had to like, I feel like that's important here. I feel like because she's holding onto this little ball, and I'm seeing this as you, okay? You show up as like, and obviously not if you're a masculine, imagine this as a masculine, but you show up and you're holding this portal, and your inner child is like seeing that you're like you have like a likeness with them, which may not be something that you and your like inner self has felt, because you're not working in like a, you're not working against it. Like, I don't want you to think like, oh, like you're working like against your inner child or anything like that, because I don't think we're ever doing that. But I do think we like frighten them a little bit. It reminds me a lot of what is it, Rick and Morty, when you know, like, I think, I forget her name, Sharon, is it Sharon? I haven't seen these shows in so long, but when I seen like a TikTok video of her like healing her inner child, she was like with herself when she was younger. And it could just be that there's like a bit of a fear there, because the likeness, you're like, you'll always be like your inner child, but there is, I want to say like a discrepancy between you showing up in a way that perhaps your younger self like wouldn't have expected. So they don't really know you, you know, like they don't really know who you are. But whenever we're doing like that kind of work, like that kind of healing, I think that we're like managing a lot of the wounds that we have gained from our family, from like family trauma, from like ancestral trauma and cycles of that sort. At some point we do find ourselves being like controlled by the darkness that we were raised in, and we could set that off into relationships ourselves. So that's why I think that when you're inner healing, like you're healing that child that you grew up with, you're resolving that so you can move towards love and relationships and unconditional love in that same way. Hold on, I got a message from work, 1 second. Okay, so you could be having things shift in your life where things get easier for you, where like you start getting rid of things that don't work for you anymore, that are holding you kind of in a position where you're staying very like stagnant. You're not getting a full chance to move. That's where, again, I'm like gonna go back to, I think part 2 it was, or part 1, where you had the Emperor come out. And the Emperor in that certain card deck, he's standing, or she is actually, it's a she in this deck. She is standing in a forest and there's nothing but trees around her and she's looking up. So the way that I see that is you're in an energy that's very, like, not hypnotized, but you're in some sort of trance where you do feel like I do think you're looking for some sort of answer. You looking upwards isn't necessarily telling me that you're looking at God or you're looking at light. But I do think you're looking for an answer. You're looking for source. You're looking for it. You're looking for that path, that clarity, that flare up in the sky, the arrow. I just see that you're searching for whatever that answer might be, and you're trying to, like, move down. It's giving me that conveyor belt again. You're trying to find that conveyor belt, and you're trying to get on that conveyor belt to move. How's this person feeling towards you? How's this person feeling towards you, towards this connection, towards what was, what could happen, what was and what could happen? What are they feeling? What was and what could happen? Oh my gosh, okay. So you have the Temple coming out for what was, and then you have the Mask and the Mentor coming out for what could happen. So that's why I don't think you guys have had a chance to really communicate. I don't think you guys have had a chance to really communicate at all, because it's like there is an opportunity for someone to show up in a mask. So with the Mentor in reverse, that would mean that they're showing up without necessarily learning anything, or they're showing up sort of like backtracking the situation. I'm seeing this as someone showing up just to show up, like they don't really know what they're doing. But the Temple is what was. There's an energy of steadiness. There was an energy of this was clear. There was a clear trajectory towards you guys that at that point in time it wouldn't have been missed, or it shouldn't have been missed. It's like whatever happened, it was like you were on trajectory, you were on orbit, all of a sudden, and now you're over here and you're like circling around where you see the orbit to be. It's like you can physically view this. And you know what? I think this is the masculine energy that's coming out for this. It's like I see the masculine being like, no, we were on the conveyor belt. It's almost like, again, I don't think anybody's mad at anybody at the situation, but I do think there's situational anger where even this person's looking at the situation and going, well, what the fuck? Like, we were definitely on this orbit. How did we get over here? And how are you over there now? So it's like, I do feel this person's anger coming out, but again, they're not angry at you. They're not like there's no bitterness for you. The bitterness is purely coming from whatever it was that like pushed you off of the orbit that you guys were on originally. That you guys were like, so a little bit more about that and what was. We have the King and the Forest coming out. Whenever I get the Forest card, always think of tattoos. So you could have tree tattoos or like some sort of naturey landscape tattoo, or maybe they might. Also, the King is coming out, which is similar coloring to that one, and also to the Mask. So it could be possible that the masculine might show up in a way that's like projecting like this person hasn't learned anything from this distance, which I don't think that they necessarily needed to learn anything from the distance that the two of you had. But I do think that they show up masking their feelings, maybe masking emotions or how they truly feel, or true conversation. Because one of your cards that came out for the discrepancies, the situational anger, was the inability to communicate clearly. So I was saying it's not all you, see?